What's the real difference between a good leader and a truly great one? Well, it often boils down to one incredibly powerful skill: program storytelling. Today, we're going to move way beyond just status updates and spreadsheets to see how a compelling story doesn't just report on success, it actually drives it. So, think about the programs you're running right now. Are they just a bunch of tasks on a timeline, or are they part of something bigger, a powerful purpose? The difference there is what separates people just doing their jobs from a team with true commitment. And that's the gap we're going to close today. So what is program storytelling really? Let's be clear, this isn't fluff. It's a strategic way of shaping how people see your work, of building the essential trust you need to make things happen, and getting everyone, from your core team all the way up to top executives, pulling in the exact same direction. To really get a handle on this, we're going to walk through a 4-part journey. First up, we'll build the foundation for your story. Then, we'll dive into how you can connect with your audience in a real way. After that, we'll look at driving the narrative forward. And finally, we'll cover how to make sure your story really lasts. Okay, every great story needs a solid foundation, right? We're about to jump into the first 3 pillars. These are the absolute non-negotiables of purpose, clarity, and trust that everything else is built on top of. So, in this first part, we're going to look at the why. That's your compelling vision. Then we'll tackle the how, a clear structure that gives everyone a roadmap. And finally, the who, your authentic voice, which is the very thing that builds credibility and trust. First up, vision. This is, without a doubt, the heart of your story. It's not about what you're doing, it's about why you're doing it. A really strong vision gives meaning to every single task and makes everyone involved genuinely care about where you're all headed. Because honestly, without that why, the how just doesn't matter. But a great why definitely needs a clear how. And that brings us to structure. You know how programs can have a million moving parts? It gets complicated fast. A simple story structure, a clear beginning, middle, and end, is your secret weapon. It turns all that complexity into a clear, understandable journey that people can actually follow. And this leads us perfectly into pillar 3, authenticity. Now, the slide says it all, it's the foundation of trust. But think about the flip side for a second. If your audience gets even a whiff of corporate spin or dishonesty, the entire story just falls apart. Being transparent, even when you're facing challenges, is what makes your narrative credible and strong. So, with that solid foundation in place, the next step is to build a bridge to your audience. Because let's be real, a story is only as powerful as its ability to connect with the people who matter most. In this part, we're going to explore 3 keys to unlocking that connection: tailoring your message so it's relevant, connecting on a human level with emotional resonance, and making sure everyone feels like they're part of the story through inclusivity. Pillar 4 is contextual relevance. And this slide just illustrates the point perfectly. You don't tell the exact same story to everyone. When you're talking to executives, you focus on the big picture, strategic value, ROI. But for your team, you connect the work to your shared purpose and highlight their individual impact. It's the same program, but a totally different story. Data and facts can inform, but it's emotion that really drives action. That's pillar 5. When your story taps into the values and aspirations you all share, you're not just getting their buy-in, you're creating genuine commitment. You're turning people from passive listeners into active champions for the program. And pillar 6, inclusivity, is all about making the story feel legitimate. When people see their own perspectives reflected in the program's narrative, they feel a sense of ownership. And that's when your story transforms from being your story to being our story. Okay, so your story is built and it's connecting with people. Fantastic. But a program is a living, breathing thing, right? It doesn't just stand still. This next section is all about maintaining that momentum and keeping the narrative alive and dynamic. So here, we'll see how you can build confidence by telling powerful progress stories, how to turn setbacks into strengths by framing risks in a constructive way, and how to make abstract ideas feel real through clear visualization. Pillar 7 is all about progress stories. It's not enough to just talk about the finish line way off in the distance. You have to celebrate the wins along the way. By clearly showing milestones being hit, you build incredible momentum, and you replace anxiety with real, tangible confidence in where the program is headed. Let's face it, every single program hits a few bumps in the road. Pillar 8, constructive risk framing, is all about how you talk about them. Just look at the difference here.
We're behind schedule creates panic, but framing it as, here's our chance to adapt and innovate, that creates resilience. It's the same reality, but a completely different story.
A lot of program goals can feel, well, a little abstract. Pillar 9 is about making them real. Are you building a bridge, climbing a mountain, launching a rocket? Using simple, powerful metaphors helps everyone grasp the goal and, more importantly, see their role in getting there. It makes the intangible tangible. We're at our final section, and you could argue this is the most critical one for long-term success. How do you make sure your story doesn't just fade away, but actually evolves right along with the program? And that brings us to our 10th and final pillar, sustainability. Your story cannot be set in stone. It has to be a living, breathing thing. The world changes, your program will have to change too. A sustainable narrative is one that adapts to new challenges while always staying true to that core vision we started with. So there you have it, the 10 pillars all grouped into 4 essential themes. You start with a strong foundation. Then you create a powerful connection with your audience. You drive momentum as you go, and you make sure the story evolves so it stays relevant. And that leaves us with one final thought. Whether you're actively managing it or not, your program is telling a story right now. Through your actions, your updates, your results. The only question is it the story you truly want to be telling?